This is a chair, an empty chair, an unoccupied chair waiting to be filled. Usually, people are jumping at the opportunity to fill an empty chair, right? Think about it. An empty seat on the cat bus, someone's going to sit in it. An empty chair in the classroom, someone's always looking for one. So, why isn't anybody in any hurry to fill this empty chair? Well, let's look at the July 2015 cover of the New York Times Magazine and the meaning they put to an empty chair. Here, we see the 35 women that were sexually assaulted by Bill Crosby. And at the end sits one empty chair. This empty chair symbolizes the victims that are still out there, that have not yet opened up about their attack. Through this cover, they are trying to recognize, to encourage all 293,000 victims of rape each year, according to RAINC, Rape Abuse Incest National Network. They want to speak up on behalf of all rape victims and remind them that they are not alone in these types of situations and how we, the non-victims, can help them out. I'm here today to talk to you about the prevalence of sexual assault on college campuses, the cause of it, and the basic solutions that could put a stop to it. So, it is time to change the way we view the matter of sexual assault for the sake of the victims sitting in silence. First, we need to recognize the widespread problem of sexual assault on college campuses. Sexual assault happens on every college campus, and there's an increasing amount of victims that go unheard of. We've heard this conversation dozens of times, but I don't believe it makes enough of an impact on us. We are still so unaware of how often this happens every day around us. So to put things in perspective, the National College Health Risk Behavior Survey reported that every 21 hours, there's a rape on an American college campus. That is at least one per day. At least one person a day is raped in an environment they once considered home, that they once felt safe in. To make matters worse, assaults are often not reported. According to the National Criminal Justice Reference Survey, more than 90% of sexual assaults are not reported. Victims being so unwilling to report their assaults only makes it harder to stop the abuse. There are several reasons sexual assault continues to be a widespread problem on college campuses. The main reason I'm going to talk about today is that victims are so afraid of the stigma that comes along with being in such a situation. Victims often think that nobody will believe them or take their accusations seriously. Generally speaking, we can't deny that there's some kind of negative facet that lingers alongside the topic of sexual assault. Some kind of preconceived notion that victims are lying or exaggerating about their attack. Well, according to MAN, Myths Against False Accusations reported that only about 2% of accusations are found to be false. Therefore, there's such a small chance that victims are actually lying about their accusations. Also, victims live in fear of the judgment that others would hold against them. For example, Florida State's all-star football player Jameis Winston was accused of raping another student named Erica Kinsman. After the news of Kinsman's attack got out around campus, the entire college community ganged up on her. They said she was lying, they were angry, and they just couldn't understand why she was trying to do this to such a crucial player to their football team, as if she was trying to sabotage their football program. In the end, they harassed her until she left the school, and nothing was ever done about the situation. This is a prime example of why victims are afraid to speak up. In their minds, living in silence is easier than dealing with social pressures, which is exactly what is wrong with the situation. Which leads me into how exactly we are going to stop it. The solution to this is changing the way we perceive sexual assault in the individuals that are involved in such situations. First, we need to get rid of the idea that only women are victims. In an article by Carl Renson, about 9% of rape victims are actually men. All victims need to be acknowledged and heard equally, but often men are not given the attention that they need. We need to recognize and all victims need to be acknowledged and heard equally, but oftentimes men are not given the attention that they need. If they were more widely recognized, I think they would be more willing to speak up about their attacks. Another thing we need to do is to dismiss all rape stereotypes. First, we need to understand that rapists are not always strangers. Typically, abusers are everyday people, such as college students we interact with on a daily basis. Also, anybody can be a victim of sexual assault, regardless of your race, your sex, your class, or your age. And lastly, the most prominent change we need to make is to stop victim blaming. It's not about what they were doing, it's not about what they were wearing, it's not about what they said. Rape is rape under any circumstance. We need to stop trying to make exceptions. Instead of making victims feel self-conscious, we need to make them feel willing and welcoming, willing and comfortable to opening up about their attacks. Because a victim's top concern should not be what other people are saying or thinking about them. At this point, I hope I've opened your eyes a little more to the prevalence of sexual assault on college campuses. All in all, we need to recognize that sexual assault happens, why it happens, and changing our attitude towards it will help end the abuse. So, like the New York Times covered, we need to recognize, we need to encourage victims to fill that empty chair, to fill it as many times until the silence is broken. So, for their sake, for the sake of a healthy college campus, the change starts here. The way we view sexual assault changes today.